Okay, here's a question. Candace said children never go to hell. At what age then does God consider someone not to be a child? 10, 18, 21? My friend died in a car accident shortly after high school graduation, and I don't know if she will be in heaven. So, I mean, they're asking, obviously, if this high school girl died, was she considered a child and therefore maybe a better chance of going to heaven? What could you say?
Well, God had told me that there was not, and it's not a specific age.
Okay.
It's what's in the heart of the person. It's what their understanding is in their heart. And everybody understands things or receives things at different ages or stages in their life. The other thing is this you have to consider about a person, and you may not have known, even if it was in a car accident, even at that very moment or time before that actually took place, Christ can present themselves to them. In the spirit realm, there is no time, is what I'm trying to say. And many people, even that moment, especially if they had somebody praying for them, if somebody close to them was praying for that person, it gave Christ the right at that moment of death, because he has the keys of hell, death, and the grave, to present himself to that person if they want him or not. So you can't, in your mind, you can't put God in this box except for one thing. You're not going to heaven without Jesus Christ. So that's why God, when we declare things and stand in the gap for people, it gives Christ the right to present himself to them, even if they're in a coma, even at that moment of death coming itself. Remember, he has the keys to death. There's a reason why he has those keys. So I'm telling people, I'm not giving people the right to just sin wantonly, thinking it's not matter that they'll get a chance to know him, but there are people standing in the gap for people, and God wants them to know you didn't waste your words. And this also makes a difference. Maybe you didn't know your grandparents, maybe you didn't know your great grandparents. What if they stood in the gap? Christ will take the words of these people who gave themselves to him, and they stand there and declare, I stand in the gap for the next 25 generations.
Whoa.
Because I have been surrendered to you, because I have given my whole self to you, and I have not held back. I declare that you will use the keys, and you will be able to present yourself to all of my family members coming on the earth, that they'll know you, they'll be in heaven, they'll be in eternity, and we will have a time to rejoice. If that happened, and you may not have ever met them, God takes those words, they're alive, they're just like they just spoke them, even though they're in heaven, they're still here. They left them in the atmosphere of the earth. Jesus will take those words and pursue that person.
So good. Wow. So someone could stand in the gap, or another word would be intercede. Same means the same thing, right? Intercede for the person, but if they intercede for their whole 25, did you say 25 generations? What did you say?
Yes, but I actually have stood for 1,000 generations because of what is being required of me. God said, what will you have of me? And he actually kind of says it in the word, this day I offer you life and death. Which will you choose? You're always choosing life if you're standing for someone to know Christ, because you don't want them to have death. Death is not just like your physical dying. Okay, it doesn't mean just that. But if you choose life yourself and you pursue Christ and you give yourself to him to do whatever he needs, I'm not saying you're perfect. I'm saying you're always pursuing him. I'm not telling you to be Miss or Mr. Perfect, people, but you need to let Christ have a very high place in your life, that you consider what would Christ want. I remember back in the day when you'd wear a bracelet that said, what would Jesus do, right?
Right.
That is something good to live by. Did you even ask him when you had to make a decision, a hard decision? Did you say, what would you want? I know people who their spouse had been unfaithful, and they had every right to get rid of them and not want them or whatever. And they decided to go before God. They said, this is what I have a right to. And I know even according to your word, I have the right to not live underneath the abuse. What would you want? And God has said to them, I desire for you to keep them. They'll give themselves to me. They'll be powerful people on the earth. And that is what my desire is. But how many people ask him?
Yeah.
Not just that question, but even important questions in your life. That's what the word says. Acknowledge him in all your ways, and he will direct your path. So if these people are living this way and they say, I'm standing in the gap, and I said to him, I'm standing in the gap for the next 1,000 generations of my family line that come upon this earth. If we're all still here, if we're still here and earth is still here, I stand in the gap that they will know you, they will love you, they will give themselves to you, however you do that they will be in eternity with me and all of my family. We will rejoice, and there'll be great in the earth for you. And God said, I will give you that.
Wow.
And then he said this, and anyone who's willing to make a stand like that for their family line and those around them and their loved ones, I will do everything within my power and my son's power to make a chance, give them a chance, even at death, to receive him. It will be so.
Really, really, really good. Very encouraging.